so very interested in all of the conversations and being shared with our team. So my on making sure that we identify which topics we want to work through here today. And I'll
Was it me? I couldn't hear properly.
Yes, I pass to you.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Wish you a really productive week. My intention is to debate as well many of the issues that are in the notion. Get in sync with everyone. I'll pass it to Juanca.
Thanks, Mateo. Yeah, my intention is also to sync and to see how can I collaborate. And I don't have any distractions starting this week with you guys, and I will pass to Lauren.
Yeah, my intentions, well, my focus for the week is I want to work more on the mission, vision, values and come up with like a nice one-liner statement. So I'd love like a little bit of, if we could talk about that in this call as well. And yeah, I'm only slightly distracted by my half-finished smoothie. And I'll pass it to Marco.
Thanks, Lauren. Hi, everybody. I'm feeling good. Most of my weekend, and I think this week, I was occupied about thinking how we're moving forward and creating our future roadmap and planning and strategizing and everything else around product building. So spent a lot of time thinking about that. And how we should, as a team, organize around that. And also, while you're mentioning, Lauren, this one-liner tagline thing, I mean, there are some ways, workshops, exercises we could do together, like in pairs or as a team or whoever wants to join, and maybe that will help us as well, and get to one-liner, tagliner. But also, I think it will help us. The outcome of our, strategy planning and roadmap planning will also give you some answers and ideas, and inform us about like what that tagline will be. Yeah, that's it from my end. Distractions, none at this moment. I pass. Oh yeah, just seeing Griff, and he's something above his head. Looks like he's in some sort of like a small cage or something. So that's the only distraction. I pass it over to you, Griff.
Sorry. Yes, I'm captured. I've been captured in Costa Rica. They won't let me out. No, I think I'm okay. But yeah. So my intentions for this call, I really like the roadmap discussions, and I hope that gets a good section of time, and or like more from the like higher levels, I guess, on that. And then yeah, other than that, I'm just here to hang out and have fun with all you guys. I'll pass it to Willie.
Thanks, Griff. Morning, everybody. Just poured some coffee, so I'm waking up. Excited to be here. I got the day off today, so I was planning to spend some time working on roadmap stuff today as well. But really excited to hear that you've been thinking a lot about this, Marco, too, and looking forward to doing it with the community and landing on a nice path forward. And all the clarity that will come with that, I think, will be helpful. And like you said, will help with these other things like one-liners, and should help hopefully just get everybody rowing in the same direction, which is always important. Otherwise, intention is to sync up and go through the agenda and discuss all these action items. And I'll pass to Mitch.
Good morning. I'm feeling pretty good this morning, fresh. My focus for this week would be to start hopefully putting stuff into the Giveth docs and just making it look presentable a bit more. And I'm very interested about the roadmap discussion, and it'd be great during the call if we could just hammer that out and make a plan for the next couple of weeks. I'll pass it to Ashley.
Hi guys, good morning. I'm feeling pretty good today. My focus for this week, I think, is just really getting these interviews scheduled so that we can get a lead Solidity developer and move forward on that front. That's kind of my focus. And for this call, I am also interested in the roadmap discussion, as well as if there's time, it'd be really cool to look at the gardens together and just kind of like go over the little Rinkeby thing that they have set up. And yeah, that's what I got. So I will pass it to Wonka.
I think already went.
Oh, okay. Who hasn't gone? Forrest?
Yeah, I haven't gone. Thank you. Hello, I'm feeling great this morning. My focus for this week is working on my Wiki to Docs migration assignments and editing other people's. Also getting our next project verification sprint going, as well as, yeah, excited tomorrow morning to meet with Monique and kind of have like a project management sync, and also meet with Griff this week around road mapping for the Give token. And intention for this call, there's a lot of bullets for discussion today. I look forward to talking about like the decision making and communication processes and like sociocracy and stuff, and also the road mapping. And yeah, just want to echo what Ashley said. If we can review the OneHive demo, that would be super cool. Has anyone not shared?
Oh, I think that's everyone.
Okay.
All right, so it sounds like talking through the roadmap is the first thing we want to dive into. Oops, I'm sorry, I did not empty everything out from the last week's discussions. So let's jump into having a chat about the roadmap. Let's see. Yes, I'd like to hear a little bit about, let's see, sorry. So we talked in the community call yesterday about the fact that there's a few different roadmaps, and then there's the larger roadmap that we would want to align that with. So there's the Give token roadmap, and then there's our development roadmap. Let's start with the one, I guess, our DAP roadmap, the one that we have in Notion. I heard was probably something that, Willie, you put that together first. Do you want to share with us how that's working a little bit, and we can see if that's something we want to leverage going forward as a model, or if anyone has other ideas on how we can structure that?
Sure. I can share this Notion doc, and this is, this isn't necessarily how we decide the roadmap, but it's more about once we do have a roadmap figured out, just a way that we can communicate that. So it's a very simple doc, but basically we've got these 3 tables. So here, this is where we started with the MVP feature requirements a while ago. This is just something there. Here's completed features. So once a feature is done, we just kind of drop it in this bucket. So you can see these are all things that we've completed. Right now, you can see in progress, we've got identity verification, which I believe is getting kicked off or started this week. This is one of the next features, so I threw it up here. And then the Give token project, which is kind of its own, like you said, its own roadmap. And right now, there's not any other features we're currently working on that I know of, right? We're doing the Next.js migration, which is awesome. And those types of things I wouldn't necessarily put on the roadmap. I would leave that up to the development team to basically say, hey, we need to do this type of migration. Similar with bugs, obviously bugs and stuff that pop up should be squashed, but don't necessarily need to go on the roadmap. So basically, this is just specifically looking at features, new features that we do want to build. And it's just 3 separate tables where we basically have in progress, up next, and then kind of just feature requests, a place to put, whenever somebody has an idea for a feature, and we want to put it somewhere, and hopefully, ideally prioritize one day. Those can go down here, and it's really simple. You just can put the name of your feature, some tags like who it's for, some notes, and then link to a GitHub issue if there's a GitHub issue for it. So yeah, this doc is available in our Notion for anyone to come in and play around with. I had not spent a lot of time on this, but when I heard that this past week there was a desire for more clarity around the roadmap, and I'm not even clear on exactly what the request is. So maybe we can start there by talking about the motivation for one of the reasons we're talking about this right now is that I heard this past week on the dev call there was some tension and maybe even frustration around the lack of a roadmap or lack of clarity. So that's kind of, I think, what motivated this discussion. And this roadmap is definitely a tool we can use once we do figure out what the next features are. It's definitely a great way to just keep our ideas for future requests, have a plan of the next couple of steps we're going to take, and then make it clear what's currently in progress. So I do like it for this purpose, but I do think that a broader discussion, kind of like Marco posted, I do agree that we should have a broader discussion around roadmap and how we want to plan our roadmap, how we want to measure our roadmap, like for hitting it, how we want to adjust, how we want to get consensus around all that. I do think we could benefit from having some more processes around it. My intention for this first call this week was to kind of get the ball rolling there. And mainly the main intention was to align on the long-term vision of where we want to get to, not necessarily all the steps of how to get there, but kind of what I was thinking to be a success if we could walk in that meeting with alignment on the long-term vision and then alignment on the next few steps, the next few features that we were going to take to get there. And maybe if there was time to have some discussion around the broader background process, how we get there. So, but yeah, unless there's any questions about this, do you guys want to talk about I want to make sure, I think it'd be good to figure out what the request is for roadmap and really what the dev team is desiring right now so we can make sure that we deliver that.
Yeah, thanks, Willie. I think the reason I wanted to start here is because so far we've been very, focused on just building the dApp itself, doing it in sprints, talking about the features, and kind of looking at this section by section without having that fuller picture of where it is that we're going as an organization. I saw Marco use the word business. We're running a business here. So I'd really love to open it up. Maybe let's go around. Is there anyone who has something they'd like to share that's burning around this roadmap and some information to get this conversation going so we can get that clarity?
I'd love to hear what Mateo thinks about the roadmap and how that all works.
Yeah, I was thinking that this comes really perfect in timing. I wasn't able to join the last call, but I believe that I rushed the next migration because of the future, actually, because I was believing that if we left Gatsby and the current state of the app, we were going to encounter many issues in the future, and we couldn't manage like a poor foundation for the app. So the roadmap or making more clear how the roadmap is going to happen right now comes perfect because after we do the final migration to Next, it's like we are in stage 0 to start the development for the future of the app, actually. So it comes like really handy and in the perfect time. I'm not sure what were the points that were made in the previous dev call, but I think that yeah, if you can give me some summary of it, I think I know what points were talked about, but yeah, I believe that the roadmap is needed to be more clear right now and comes perfect at the moment.
And does that structure of the roadmap work for you? I mean, is that enough, or is there anything that you need improved, or any thoughts?
The structure fundamentally is handling first the product verification and what else? Like what's the first step? Maybe I forgot to see the table that Willie was showing. But pre-verification it comes first, no?
Yep, project verification. That was one that we had talked about prioritizing, along with
Yeah.
probably what would come up here next is we have this bucket for Give tokens, but probably that's not necessarily Giveth.io dApp development requirements, but givebacks, like whatever the UI needs that we'll need to implement the giveback program on Giveth.io. That would be one that I would advocate for at this next roadmap meeting to prioritize next. And then
okay. So maybe coming from many talks that I have had previously with James, I'm going to talk on his behalf, maybe. But one of the worries that we were having in previous times were that sometimes the issues were being thrown at the dev team, like, well, we need to do this feature should be running, and we need to add this and then this, and we were like getting a stack of new issues without a clear roadmap. So I think that was the moment where we decided to do the sprint planning and make the tasks that everyone should be doing in that space of time. So that wouldn't happen again, because sometimes the sprint were this amount of task and then it would come up to the triple of it. So the main point of the roadmap should be having a strict, or not a strict, but at least a clear deadline for what functionality should be done by then, where testing had already happened, and should be focusing on delivering to the production environment. And after that, we can focus on making the cycle go on with the new development. So everything can go properly. I believe that we should just focus on making a clear timing for each functionality, and that makes sense for the complete vision of the application. So if we agree that the first step is the product and identity verification, and that we should have a complete, or at least 80% or completeness of the functionality by, let's say, the end of the month or the next sprint that is 2 weeks ahead, we should have that in mind for all the functionalities that are coming ahead. So for my side, I believe it comes perfect, because I don't believe that there are many issues right now in the dApp that are like troublesome for the users. After we move to Next.js, the application is going to run even smoother. So yeah, I believe that we can have just clear goals for the next 2 sprints, and then we can again make planification around that. And we, in the dev team, at those goals, with the help maybe of Monique, that I know he's interested in helping us around, we can make a plan even clearer and make us more productive as a dev team. At least if James is not going to be 100% of time, I, with Merlin, and I'm considering to get some help as a contributor from a friend of mine here in Barranquilla, and also expecting to have the new addition of backend developer. We can make that happen. I think that's the next topic of the call, about the hiring. So that would be, yeah.
So it sounds like, Mateo, part of the, maybe if there was tension, part of it wasn't necessarily, part of it was having a little bit more clarity around where we're going and what the next features are, but also part of it was around after a sprint gets kicked off, just kind of new features saying, hey, this needs to get done, this needs to get done, this needs to get done. And that, like those requests and stuff, is there a lot, do those need to somehow get prioritized, or was that part of the frustration?
Yeah, well, coming from my side, I couldn't tell much because I didn't feel that frustrated. That's more personally for James to say. But from my side, I just felt that sometimes it was too personal for the developer to choose what had more priority. For example, I decided to move the whole application to Next.js because I thought that was more priority, had more priority than anything else. So having the roadmap more clear could set that priority more, or make it more explicit and more clear. So James will say, well, I'm going to do this because I believe that this is more important than these other tasks, etc. So that's really complicated. But from my side, I don't believe that I felt frustrated. I could have felt overwhelmed by so much that we had to do, but that's normal for development. But yeah.
Cool. Thanks for sharing, Mateo. I do hope. Yeah, I think it'll be great. I'm glad that it's good timing that we're doing this roadmap discussion, and then also it's great timing with Monique coming on board. Hopefully, when it comes to prioritizing these one-off requests and stuff, and so that less of that is on the developers, and you guys can just more focus on taking some of these requests that have already been prioritized and knocking them out. That does seem like something that Monique could most likely help out with.
So I feel like what I heard here is that the lack of the roadmap is the underlying root cause of some of the problems we're having around the development team being to prioritize what to work on when, again, the larger vision. But it also feels like the other topic that's on here around decision making is probably an important piece of that too. One of the things I saw was that James said he wouldn't be able to be here, but he felt like Marco and Griff both had a good grasp on where he was coming from. Marco, I'm wondering if you have anything you'd like to add now to this discussion around that.
Yeah, so far we've been talking about the roadmap, planning, and features, and that everything is for the execution of the development of the product itself. What I'm concerned about is how these features ties to our goals. Have we even defined our goals, and how these goals are tied to our vision that we want to achieve, and how we can measure the success? How can Mateo get the feedback from where? What is the measure of success of implementing, for example, whatever feature is currently in the roadmap, knowing that he contributed, that we are now closer to our success or the goal or the next goal that we're achieving? I think those are the things that I'm mostly concerned about. I posted a message on Discord just briefly about how we should go about planning a roadmap. I think the current features list is fine, and getting clarity for the developers and what they need to do next is also fine. And that's just pure execution of building a product. But where are we going? What is our goal? How are we going to measure that? How are we going to get feedback from users? Are we, have we defined those measures of our success? Those type of things. I think all of us should have now is a perfect time where we are rewriting our mission, vision, and values. Derived from those, we can start strategizing or creating our product strategy as a next step, and saying we're going to achieve our vision by doing this and that, and we're going to set up some of the metrics and say, okay, these are our objectives and some of the key results we want to meet. But how we're going to do that? Okay, we're going to do that by doing this, and that. And then maybe, the communications teams says, we're going to help achieve this goal by contacting 100 nonprofits and reaching out to them and, doing a research or whatever, or onboarding them by, I don't know, end August or, whatever, winter. So these type of things, so that all team members at any point of time during the development know they're doing something to get us closer to that goal that we want to achieve. Whether we're right or wrong, we don't know. Maybe, I mean, we're going to find that out when we reach it, right? And we're going to do our best to brainstorm and make sure that our target goal will give us success. It will be successful, right? And for that, we need all of us together as a team, get together, do a group brainstorm, and figure out what are these goals and what are these targets we want to reach. These are the typical stuff that I've done like for years, many years in consultancies, doing standard product development. I think we should borrow some of that and bring that a little bit of that structure and organization in our team. And start like zooming out again, and then going into the details, and eventually end up having a roadmap with a list of features that Willie put on a Notion. But then we all know, all right, I'm doing the project onboarding or identity verification, and I know why I'm doing that, right? I know when I ship this feature, I will be super happy about it. I know that my contribution made an impact and get us closer to the finish line. And not only that, but as a team, after that, that you get this kind of a reward, knowing that, you shipped something that is just, contributing to the overall success of a product and our organizations. So I hadn't like, criticisms or super, any tensions in as such, but I was kind of hesitant to take any new issues from ZenHub to start working on those, because I did not know where we're going, why I'm doing this. There's Givebacks team doing some stuff. How's that tied to what I'm doing here and the other guys are doing? Our communications teams working on promoting that. How will that look like? If I change profile, why I'm changing the profile? Okay, this affects the other stuff, and then I'm giving a lot of work for the developers, and then they're working on other stuff, and and I just said, okay, no, I'm not going to touch this until we all agree, what is the next thing we're shipping and why we're shipping that, right? I would be happy if we could define those to know the why and how we're going to get there. If not, if it's going to be just a decision, oh, we're going to build these features, and okay, that's also fine with me, but at least I know and have an overview of at least the execution of which features are we going to building, and just going to sync with everybody to to ship those. But I would love to be able to define the how, the why and how, and some of the metrics, and that will help us as a team, whole team, be more connected and be more in sync. And will add to success of our product and everything we're building. That's all I wanted to say.
Preach! I love it, Marco. That was awesome. Yeah, and I think I agree. I think a lot of us do agree with that. And so what I'm hearing is that not only should we, talk about what the next features are, but really we should go a step higher and we should talk about what are the goals for Giveth, and then when we try to figure out what the features are, and when communications team tries to figure out what they're working on, we can all clearly look at, here are the goals that we've aligned on. How does this feature contribute to that? I do want to share with the givebacks, and I think we can make this part of our process for creating new specs. There is a really nice kind of why givebacks as well as goals for this feature, and there's success metrics for each of these goals basically. So I agree, we should let's set the higher level goals, but let's also make it a process when we basically prioritize any of these features. Let's set goals for the feature and success metrics to measure those goals and tie those goals into the overall what we're trying to achieve here, which is more donations, right? More projects on here, which donations will bring, and I think that will help keep us running in the same direction. And yeah, I love what you're saying, and I think that now is the perfect time. When we have this big roadmap discussion, we could talk about let's set some big goals for Giveth. I also want to say I think that initially our goal up until now has been to launch the MVP, right? The first version where projects could come sign up and in minutes and start accepting donations, and donors could come donate with no fees. And I think we've done a great job of getting to that first goal. And now it's a great time to kind of sit and look forward and say what's the next milestone that we want to aim for.
Yeah, one thing more I just want to add. This whole thing it just takes time, especially like to sync everybody up. So be prepared. If we want to do this, it will just take probably couple of weeks. Or let's not talk about time. Let's talk about disregard the time component and just take as much as is needed, and just go through that process as a team. And set it up properly. And you're completely right, really. MVP, we succeeded. That's it. We shipped that, and I'm super happy about it. We didn't need any of this stuff. But next step in achieving our vision, I'm asking myself, and I love this question, like, what is the change of behavior that we want to create for the people who will be using our product? You know, what is that change of behavior? And we're creating something new here. I think like it's to get such adoption, we need to be smarter. We need to think ahead. We need to strategize. We need to plan. We need to test. We need to have metrics and so on and so forth. Sometimes we will succeed, maybe sometimes not. The road is bumpy. It's okay, but we should do that. And just one story. Before a year and a half ago, when I was at Consensus, I was brought in on a super major, huge, biggest Consensus project to fix their team and their roadmap. And I flew in to Switzerland, and they would introduce me, and I offered them, and I interviewed everybody, and I offered them to start with strategizing, to getting the whole team on board. To first fix their roadmap, because there was a the project manager or product manager who was just throwing out features whenever he had a great meeting with some potential investor or partner, and everybody got frustrated. 6 Scrum teams worked on that project. It was huge. I offered my help. I offered the whole solutions. They refused. They kept going. The people on that project worked on that project, and it was fine. Everything was, they will keep developing, executing stuff, but everybody was feeling very, very terrible. People started leaving that company, and eventually I left as well. The reason I'm saying this is because there are ways we can do that. It just takes willingness to do that. It takes time to do that, and to accept that we just have to put that effort in. And everybody is involved, and everybody is invited, and who wants to join should join, because the more people and more brains and more ideas we share, there's no bad idea, there's no anything bad. Everybody can contribute. Nobody needs knowledge about anything, right? And we should just do that. It just takes that, nothing more. So yeah, let's do it.
I feel like I'd like to share a little larger picture, just a moment, because I'm having flashbacks of team.
Danny, we can't hear you. You turned into a robot.
You're seeing all these. Oh no!
It's like.
Oh no.
No, we still can't hear you.
No. Oh,
full on rage quit. No. But I totally agree with you, Marco. I think this is a great time to really take a step back and make it happen. So
can you hear me better now?
Much better.
Yeah. So I just want to share just a little reflection, because it's beautiful. We have had a Giveth team before who actually has gone through this process and developed these things, all that documentation that you see. And then we paused, and now we've built this new version, but alongside this new version, we built a whole new team. And we're a new set of people that now needs to shift what the focus is and develop it together. And I think the really beautiful thing is we can look at each other's faces on this call and say, we know who we are now. And we needed that. We needed to have this team in order to be able to put together that clear roadmap and have each of your perspectives and skills and talents to contribute to developing this together. And usually in the past, that's been like a full-on retreat type scenario where we dive in together and we figure this out together and we put it together. How we'll do this from a distributed standpoint, I think that's really what we get to figure out now. And also, it's a really important thing to think about who's missing from this team and what are the other perspectives that aren't here in order for us to be able to build out that clear roadmap. And that's the hiring discussion that's also on here. So I'm noticing the time and we've got about 20 minutes left. Any other voices that would like to speak up that I can capture some more information into the notes here on this topic? And then we'll see if there's something else we can cover here, the gardens or the hiring discussion.
I think it's a great segue to like the decision-making process, which is part of the hiring discussion. But also I think part of the tension that came from the dev call was also about just like clear lines of communication and links. And we've been talking about like doing kind of more of a sociocracy standpoint where we'd have our circles and then we have the cross links between the circles. And I think that was part of it, is just like the devs weren't getting the clear communication that they needed from the other people in the team. And so maybe having some people present in each meeting that can kind of make those connections, you know, and be that voice.
Well, sorry for being so late. I want to add something to the Marco's comments and Angela's comments. I think the whole decision should be made on team, not outside that team. And we, at the first step, we should figure out who's the Giveth.io team. And the team, I think the team members are someone who contribute in the project and has the presence and you know, work on this project. So I think we can continue on clearing roadmap in the team discussions. And we just changed the timing of the dev call, I think, and I'm pretty sure that Willie can attend in that meeting also. So with the help of Marco, I think I can bring a sheet in the next meeting, dev call, and also share the all of the KPIs or metrics about all of our goals. And we should talk with the team members about the goals, not in the. And I'm very surprised why we have a governance call and we have you know, dev call. It shouldn't be very different, you know. If we work on a project, we all are the team members. So even the you know, the junior developer should contribute, or even the major stakeholder should contribute, or the customer. So I think we can do it in just one dev call, and it's not very complicated, I think. But sorry for my comment. I'm a newbie to the team, but I see it as I think.
Monique, are you talking about like the sprint planning happening based, like the dev team should be able to plan their own sprints, or the Giveth.io team should be able to plan their own sprints?
Yes, the Giveth.io, you know, in the product management, all of the team members should come together and talk about the roadmap with the stakeholder and with the customer, with the probable customer. And, you know, they have to decide what their quarterly goals are. They have to, with the presence of the stakeholder. You know, I think if the stakeholder, or if the for example, Griff or Willie, if you're not at the, you don't get presence in the team, so the team feels that we don't have any authority. But there is no authority in the, the authority doesn't, required in the product development. All of the team members can say, okay, we gonna develop this and we accept it. So I think, yes, as a Scrum routines or Agile routines, we can have, grooming sessions. We can have, sprint plannings just to talk about the near future and the quarterly goals that we have. And if we decide here right now in the governance about the roadmap of the team that even the team members not here, I think it's a kind of a weirdo, but we can do it inside the team. And it's my point of view.
Yeah, I totally hear where you're coming from. I think, would you be okay if we had this roadmap discussion to talk about the overall high-level goals of Giveth that are cross-department, that are involved, that ideally, and development will be invited to this meeting, comms will be invited, basically everyone will be invited to help map out the overall goals of the Giveth org. And then whether the product, the feature roadmap comes from a group, a cross-department collaboration, or just development, I'm open to. I kind of like having people from development team and from comms team and stuff together, even in prioritizing the roadmap, like the features. But then also, I do think that the development team should have still the kind of final authority, I would say, on what they're working on, and hopefully it works. It's on these same features that we've aligned on as across the org. But like with the Next.js deployment stuff, I would not expect, or the Next.js migration, I would not expect anyone but the dev team to basically say, we need to do this. We need to prioritize this, and I think that you guys should have the ultimate authority to prioritize those types of changes. Does that sound like a good kind of balance?
Yeah, but now I work with the companies that have a CPO and have product managers and have product owners. All of they can contribute, but in product meetings that they want to plan about their sprints. Even the CPO or the stakeholder is being in the meeting. But there are dailies, there are other meetings that shouldn't, the sense of the stakeholder is not required. But in the, for example, planning and about the roadmap, they should have all the meetings about it, and the roadmap should be discussed in the development team. So the responsibility of a product owner is kind of different than product manager, and also different than the CPO, in big companies. But we can handle it very simple, I think. We're not, they're just 1 or 2% who can see the projects outside the box and can easily plan for it. I think we can do it inside the team, but it's my point of view. If you and Griff may be present in the team, we can discuss, and all of the details should be very clear to all the team members. And the flow of information is very good for everyone to get where we're going, I think.
Yeah, I heard in there what you were sharing, and also Willie, that for example, the dev team would have the full authority within their circle to make the decision around when a change like moving to Next.js needs to be made, but then to action would need to come to a cross-functional circle such as this in order to say, okay, this is a new decision that's been made from the development team. This is what's needed. How does this affect the rest of our roadmap? And how does everybody know what might change and what they're working on based on this decision, and be able to review and adjust that roadmap periodically based on that information coming from the circles.
That sounds great to me.
All right. Any voices we haven't heard from? Anyone else have something to share around? I mean, I feel like we've got our next step. We've got a roadmap session planned for Thursday, right? So are there any other things that we would like to have done or prepared before that session on Thursday, I think is a question.
Yeah, I do agree with Marco that this might be multiple meetings. So maybe this is the first of kind of a few sessions to kind of flesh out the roadmap. I think if anybody prepared to this meeting, basically, if you have a vision in your head of where you want Giveth to be ultimately in the long term, what you want Giveth to be, what that North Star light you want us to aim for, this would be a great meeting, I think, to at least start discussing that. Of this, let's start with like talking about this North Star that we want to get to. Let's get aligned on that first. I'm planning to come prepared with a vision to communicate, but I want to welcome and invite anybody else to come prepared with theirs as well. And if everyone agrees, I think that's a good place for us to start.
Yeah, I would just like to add, maybe that first session should be just talking about that. I'm not sure, like I commented, I'm not sure if I will be available for that call. So make sure that you record that and capture the notes and everything everybody's talking about. But I was actually thinking about, doing a series of kind of workshops, with a whole team and capturing that in a Miro board. Maybe doing some sort of like exercises, voting, stuff like that. But I need some time to prepare those. So I think like the best thing, like as an outcome from the first session, just to be like, getting out everybody's, thoughts about the vision and how we want to achieve that, and ideas and suggestions, brainstorms and such. I will then rewatch that recording and try to take out all of the elements and put it in a Miro board. And then reach out to you and see what the next steps would be.
Can we confirm the time of that call?
Let's see. I was still giving people until I think tomorrow to vote. Let's see what we got so far. It might be clear already.
Oh, there's a doodle. Okay, cool.
I'm going to beg for the 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Advocating for the 9 a.m. slot.
Okay.
That's the only one I can make.
If there's a doodle, then that's being taken care of. We have 5 minutes left, and I assume there were other topics that we want to at least brush on.
So the other two topics that I heard proposed to brush on are, number one, do we want to align towards a sociocratic governance model that provides these communication pathways between our different circles and assigns roles for people? There's like a double link system, and if that's something that folks are interested in, I'm happy to share some information around sociocracy that we could maybe study up on a little bit. Any thoughts around that topic? Okay, so 6 minutes, does that give us enough time to take a look at gardens? Because that's the other thing I heard interest in covering today.
I think we could do it in six minutes.
Okay.
What do you think, Jeff? I saw your reaction.
Well, I mean, go for it, Willie. See, this is the problem. I'm too deep, and so I won't be able to. But you could probably. And I would just say, everyone, please DM me an address, and I can give you some Give tokens. Okay, go for it, Willie.
Cool.
If you can.
Yeah, sure. Also, I just want to say, Marco, I'm really looking forward to those workshops. Those sound awesome, and so I'd love to do those as the next step after this first meeting. All right. Here's the link to our gardens. Dropping that in the chat. Gardens is a template for a DAO, and it's you guys have heard of OneHive, Honey. It is a template that they've pioneered and built out. So the OneHive DAO is basically what has become this gardens template. So they've made it so that any other project like Giveth can really easily spin up their own gardens. So as you can see here, we got a few example gardens. Here's Giveth's. This right now is live on Rinkeby, so this is not live on mainnet. Right now it's just for testing. And it's in the test phase. It might even be having some bugs right now. Let's see. It was working last time I checked it out. So you need to get on Rinkeby, come connect your wallet, DM Griff your address so you can get some Give tokens. I've got almost 1 million Give tokens. Once you've got Give tokens, you can create a proposal and vote on other people's proposals. So as you see here, we've got some test proposals. Let's see. This is one that has not been voted on yet, so we can come vote. Oh yeah, this is one that I wanted to vote no on, but I found out you can't really vote no. You can just show your support. And when you show your support, you choose an amount of tokens of your tokens that you want to basically support a proposal with. So each token in your wallet can only support one proposal at a time. And the amount of support needed to pass a proposal varies depending on how much funding a proposal is requesting. So a proposal requesting 111,000 Give is going to need more supporters to pass than a proposal requesting 8,888 Give requires 3% of the tokens to support it. A proposal requesting 1 Give needs a little bit less support, 2.5% support. So what that means is of all the tokens floating around, I think that's what it means, right? Of all the tokens floating around, the proposal needs basically 3% of this 100 million tokens to pass, or is it of the active?
Active.
Okay, and how is this active measured?
It's by the amount of tokens that are, the effective supply. So it's like the amount of tokens that are voting in it. So there's a bare minimum threshold that, like, even if no one's voting, there's a minimum effective supply of people who are participating. So there's like a minimum quorum, you could say, right? And then, but anyone who's voting with their tokens in an active proposal, that is the active tokens, and 3% of the active tokens need to support that proposal.
Awesome. Thanks for the explanation.
And there's another proposal. If you want to vote no, the last proposal at the bottom is an abstain. So you can just stick this is like voting no on all the other ideas. And by voting no, you're effectively adding your stake to like the effective supply, making all proposals harder to pass.
Very interesting. So if you don't want any other proposals to pass, come vote on the abstain proposal. And yeah, please, basically right now, the next step is to DM your address so you can get some Give tokens, then hop in here, play around with creating some proposals, and go through the whole onboarding process. It's a really interesting onboarding process where you sign the covenant and then deposit some collateral. So yeah, get familiar with Gardens, create a proposal, vote on some proposals, and go through onboarding. And then if you have any feedback or if you encounter any bugs, that's kind of the main purpose here, is to see if there's any issues and share any feedback with the OneHive team. We've got a channel with them, and I believe they gave us some instructions on how to create issues and share feedback.
So when you go into your proposal that you made, Willie, it says in there, when you look at the estimated time until pass, it says it won't pass because there's not enough funds in the organization. Like, what does that mean?
So this is asking for 100,000 Give tokens, and well, there's a bug there, but there's a function that says, or there's a parameter that says you can only request, maybe it's 10% of the funds in any proposal. It's really like this, at any one time, the DAO can only spend a certain percentage of its funds. And this is like a limiting factor. And so this proposal is asking for more funds than the DAO could spend. If the DAO had more Give tokens, then this proposal could go through. So if more Give tokens came into the Gardens, then like this proposal would all of a sudden be available to pass. But the way it is now, we could never pass it. It's asking for too much money.
But it could just sit there and wait until such a time as that did happen.
Yeah.
That's true. And also you can, if you need to create a proposal, you need to get a link from their forum. So you can just go to any proposals here and grab that link and then change it, and it'll let you go through. Yeah, we'll create it again with less than 10%, and we'll see if it works this time.
All right, I see we're at the top of the hour, y'all.
Yeah. The one other thing that we didn't get to cover is the importance of the mission, vision, values, and how that is very connected to what the issue with our roadmap too, and just making sure that like this. So Lauren has the mission, vision, values out there. You can even read it when you go check out the Celeste thing. It pops up. This is going to be a very important thing that I think internally we need to align around to do the roadmap as well. So that's out there. Feedback. Any last words on that, Lauren? Okay, good.
Okay. Feedback on the mission, vision, values. That's our focus, and then getting to that roadmap meeting. Thank you, Marco, for offering to do the workshops and the exercises. Very, very grateful and excited about that.
Cool.
Okay. Have a wonderful day, y'all.